So, Robin, I want to thank you on behalf of Setsi. We thank you so much for all your leadership and everything that you do and taking the time out today to participating in our Community of Practice YouTube channel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It feels like an honor. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. So as always, we begin by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toil without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So if you can please do us the honors by introducing yourselves to our listeners and viewers and tell us about your amazing work.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Robin Sokoloski. My pronouns are she and her, L. I and currently reside in Toronto on Treaty 13 territory. And I am the co-founder and current director of organizational development of a national charitable arts organization called Mass Culture. We're quite young. I still consider us young. We were kind of sprouted in around 2016. At the time, I was in a completely different job within the arts community, and myself and some of my colleagues within the arts recognized a gap within the art sector, and there's needing to be a space within the arts community itself for research to be prioritized, further thought through and developed by the arts community in collaboration potentially with other academics, other partners outside of the sector, government funders, but it needed to be positioned within the arts community itself. And so that was the initial idea. And now 2024 is here, and we've blossomed. We are now a fully fledged charitable arts organization, although we try very hard to operate structurally as a network across the country, engaging folks from all different types of artistic disciplines, with anyone who sees themselves within the arts community, to engage them in building up the infrastructure for data and research to be harnessed by the arts community. So that's the work that Mass Culture on a larger scale is currently focused on. And we've done a number of different incredible projects to really understand how we might understand ourselves better as a sector, but also to better articulate the value that arts brings to society.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the blossoming. We always love to hear that. And it's so positive, and having a daughter that's in the art space as well in Toronto, it's always rewarding because it's such her passion too. And she does the music in the art space as well. So that's amazing. We need more of that. And can you articulate your mission and vision for us?
So Mass Culture's mission is to harness the power of research so that the community can itself understand itself and also articulate the value it brings to the public. So that's what Mass Culture stands for. We are a convener because we believe that convening different groups of people together is research in and of itself. We also believe that research is a living thing. So once we commit to a certain inquiry, we need to go about it in a way that comes up with dynamic, creative engagement strategies to involve people throughout its process, and to continuously think through and inform different ideas that are coming up, and find ways of bringing people together around the table to better understand what it is that we're trying to figure out. So that's basically how Mass Culture operates. We're very focused on community engagement strategies to involve the sector and other players in the creation and then sharing and then further informing of knowledge. And then we also understand that in order to, once we've created something, that we need to bring people around the table to provide the training needed to so that they can harness the research and information and data themselves better. So that's, I guess, without getting into examples, which I'm happy to get into, is sort of the basis of how we operate.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Power of research. I love that, how you said that it is a living thing, because that's so true. Data, as you know, we talk about it all the time on this channel, is so key for systems change and to really know what's going on right in our face without it being hidden anymore. Because we realize that data is really, has had that, you know, you it's like a one-sided situation. It's only, within a certain sector, it's only certain within a certain group. But now, it's time now really to for everyone to have that knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes, right in
Exactly.
our face. Right?
There's
Yeah.
there's a project that we have, a flagship project called DNA, Data Narratives for the Arts, which is how I first actually came into connection with Victor and Setsi. And
Mm-hmm.
really what it is we've created a data set based on 4,000 arts organizations' financial data. But you can't just create a tool. You need to provide people an opportunity to come together to understand how it's relevant and useful to them. So then we also, in addition to that, had a cohort of arts organizations from across the country engage in a learning intensive on how to better utilize it, with the intention of this entire project to create a data culture within the art sector itself. Because as you said, like, we need to find ways of people to better understand how to use the data they have that belongs to them, that is theirs, instead of constantly outsourcing the expertise. I really believe that the expertise can be built within organizations, within non-for-profit and charitable arts organizations themselves.
Exactly. So true. And what inspires you about your current work?
Oh man, so I've been with mass culture for the last 5 years. And I would say that what inspires me the most is just these learning journeys that I've had the great privilege of embarking on with so many other academics, researchers, students. There's a project that we started early on in mass culture called Research in Residence, Art Civic Impact. And we worked with 5 different research teams and a group of funders, the Canada Council for the Arts, the Trillium Foundation, Toronto Arts Foundation, and Canadian Heritage, to really give researchers an opportunity to be in residence with arts organizations and come up with these qualitative impact frameworks to understand how you might, in a qualitative way, measure art's impact on climate or access or equity. And now we're at this point with these 3 frameworks that have been built by these researchers, that we're testing them in the arts community with arts organizations and understanding their barriers to use, what indicators they've created within these frameworks hold any weight or not. And what we've discovered, like, is that these frameworks are acting like thinking tools. They are encouraging deeper conversation when people are being asked to truly assess and self-reflect on their activities and the work they do and their vision and how they want to engage others outside of their organization. They're providing these opportunities to really think more deeply about how they go about doing their work. So that for me has been truly inspirational, because it's just been from very early on to not really knowing exactly what we were getting into, to coming up with something that feels tangible and useful to act as an instrument, a tool to truly understand ourselves better without feeling like we need to default to thinking about how many bums are in seats, and using that as a metric to understand the success of a theater production, where it's far more useful to be able to have the yardsticks to understand how many people did you change emotionally, or did you have an impact on them in other ways beyond just having them come, show up, and then leave. So those are the types of things that we're zooming out and creating the tools so that we can start to have a toolbox at our disposal to take a more investigative look into what the arts do or don't do for the public and the environment.
Right. I love that. Instead of bums in the seat, it's more of the impact of how they felt and their experience when they were there. That's really, because it's going to be an automatic thing. Like once they have that impact within them, within their soul, like, oh my goodness, this was so amazing. It spoke to me. It's an automatic thing, the return. So that's awesome. So on the flip side now, what challenges or barriers have you faced, and how do you work to overcome them?
So as you might have suspected from the beginning of my conversation, this isn't boots on the ground kind of work. It is highly conceptual. It is really building this invisible infrastructure to support the flow of knowledge. And so that's a very challenging thing to fundraise for. If you don't have, if you aren't making immediate impressions, then it's very challenging to have people get behind it. Although I would say that that's changing with the acceleration of how we're doing things online and AI. People are understanding the value and the importance of harnessing your own data, and that there needs to be infrastructure such as data strategies built out to make sure that we're better prepared, and that we're doing so in ways that are more ethical and responsible than just having it done for us. So there is the other issue and challenge I would say that we face is that this work, because we're doing it in community and we're very reliant on the building up of relationships to make our work, it takes time. So just over the last 3 years in the impact frameworks project that I was just mentioning, it's taken us 3 years just to get to a point where we're now testing these frameworks within community. And they're still going to take some time to really show results of how they are functioning or not. So you have to move at the speed of trust. You have to make sure that you're coming up with many different ways. And I guess the luxury that we have within the arts is that we have, because the arts are such it's a form of expression, so we have it at our disposal so that we can rely on it for knowledge translation, which is a benefit to us. But we have to come up with multiple entry points on how we make things feel relevant and useful to folks as well. So that also takes time. You have to meet people where they're at instead of just expecting everyone to come to you. So it takes time to really build up those relationships to understand what sticks and what you might need to adapt and change.
So do you have any key priorities that you're working on right now?
Our key priorities are continue to be to engage the arts community in bringing them together, namely to understand, how do we understand the health of the art sector? There is a lot of challenges now that we've come out of the rougher part of the pandemic, where there's still all the issues that were there pre-pandemic, but have definitely grown exponentially so that we can no longer ignore them. So we need to find ways of coming together, finding common ground to start developing a shared narrative amongst the arts community on why we exist, why we're essential, and what we need, and how we can partner with the rest of community. So those are the I guess the research inquiries that I would offer in terms of what mass culture is currently thinking about. We think about the arts community holistically. So how can we bring folks together thinking about these larger issues, but still make them feel important to people on the ground who have very low capacity, who are just working away, trying to keep their arts organizations' doors open. So finding ways of finding that connection to make it feel like this is a required venture together to support the sector as a whole, I would say is one of the roles that mass culture plays in trying to support the sector. That's definitely some of the priorities that we currently have, for sure.
Excellent. Very, very inspirational. And so now, how do you feel about the future of social impact in Canada?
I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, because we're so conditioned as human beings to have these standardizations. However, in order to truly break that open and bust it open, I think we need to accept that there are frameworks of frameworks of frameworks, and that we need to value things in all sorts of different ways and not just by a standard of excellence. So there's a real opportunity within the arts, because we're a creative, dynamic field, that we could take the lead in potentially clarifying that particular point when it comes to social impact, that there are so many varying degrees of understanding what makes something, what creates change, I guess, is a different way than saying impact. What's kind of shifting things towards the positive, what's making people think differently. So what are the indicators within that we can use in a credible way to understand the things that we want to. And I would say that's one of the biggest barriers when it comes to social impact, is that we are just so conditioned to think of on a scale from 1 to 10, instead of it just being nonlinear and totally open. So yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said. Value things in different ways. It's so true, because sometimes we are thinking this linear thought of, okay, one way, but no, and that's the blessing of the art space too, is that you get to appreciate from the smallest to the biggest, from, the most oddest shape to the most, normalcy of shapes. So it's such a diverse and empowering sector of this life here. So I love it. I love it all. And what is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like to you?
My ultimate goal, I've been working in the arts for over 20 years now. I've been so lucky. My entire career has consisted of being an arts manager, because I'm quite passionate about the arts community and what it can do for society. I think the arts are humanity's superpower. And so my goal is to try and, in all the ways that I can with the skills that I have at my disposal, and mass culture is such an amazing playground to experiment with and work with others to try and achieve this, to have the public understand the public good that the arts provide in a way that truly sits with them in a meaningful way, and is no longer seen as something that's a throwaway. So really centering artists as citizens to as change makers in the world, as visionaries. So whatever I can do or whatever mass culture can do within its capacity to move that needle towards society realizing that it's our artists that are our greatest champions, our ultimate communicators, those who can make the invisible explicit, let us see beyond ourselves. That is the ultimate goal, I would say.
I love it. You know, going downtown, I always love to see art right in my face, from the magician to the drummer to the painter, you know, and you see to the violinist in the subway, you know, so you see that at least I can say that Toronto appreciates art and they see the value in art, because it's almost like, you know, there's that building called Artscape. I love that word, because you really do escape in the arts. You know, you get to come out of the rat race a little bit and just kind of get into, you know, another frequency, you know, of peace and fun, excitement, you know. So it's just a matter of coming collectively now and finding the right data to really support this in a mass scale, so that everyone appreciates this sector of you know, of what we do here. So that's great. And you know, it's been such an inspirational interview so far with you. I love it. And do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for us at this time?
Just that when you're thinking about social impact, to always think about potentially having an artist or someone who represents the arts at the table. I think there's a lot of value that our sector brings to the overall social fabric of the good work that's being done by your organization and mine. And I feel if we can find ways of being more permeable and getting beyond just our own isolated categories that we've been put in, and find ways of working together better, I think it will just support greater social cohesion and allow us to better attack or recover or regenerate the major issues that we're facing currently in society and in the environment. So yeah.
Exactly. It truly is a therapy, and you know, we value it, and we value you so much and all the leadership that you're doing in this sector. We really appreciate it and wish you much success in this journey. I know it's not an easy one, but I always you know, go back to the puzzle piece, and you are a vital piece of the puzzle that will make that collective systems change that we so need. So on behalf of SETSI, we thank you again for taking the time out today. And I know a lot of people will appreciate and take notes and yeah, reach out. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Thanks
Oh,
again.
you're welcome. So we will close the way that we began, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Robin, once again, thank you so much, and you'll have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too. Take care.
Okay, take care, dear. Bye-bye.